We're developing a roadmap to guide our work groups to address housing issues in Riverside County.
We received a call from the Public Health Alliance of Southern California. They were interested in a power sharing project to involve 2 health departments in different parts of Southern California. And they had found a partner for us called Starting Over, and it was going to be about power sharing. At the time, we did not know what power sharing meant or what the project would be.
We were chosen, as well as Starting Over, to partner together to address some of the burdens that the community faces. So kind of focusing on the intersection between public safety, public health, and housing.
Starting Over is a grassroots organization that started as a transitional housing providing organization. We started Starting Over to help people who were coming home from jail, prison, domestic violence situations, drug and alcohol treatment programs.
Well, Starting Over is a true grassroots community-based organization. They're used to working with the community and also demanding what they wanted from the government groups that provide that work. And politics isn't really part of it. Being nice isn't part of it. They demand what they need and they expect to get it.
But there are certain things that we can do as a community organization, as a community partner, that the government cannot do. And we have to do those things. And an example of that would be us showing up 30 or 40 people at a county board of supervisors meeting saying we want this policy. While our partner can't do that, we can, and that's a value that we bring to the partnership.
We're public health. We're used to bringing people together. We're used to being nice to people. We're conveners. We're the moderators. We work slowly, carefully, politically to make sure that no one's feelings are hurt, to make sure that we make slow, steady progress. That is not at all how Starting Over worked.
I think the reason why everyone agreed that this would be a good partnership is because it wasn't adversarial and we could leverage our power and public health's power. And it would be a lot more powerful than what we were doing on our own in the narrative of public safety.
So the way I think we've seen the way this partnership has really come together, it's allowed us to really sort of dive into the data and the families and really look at our admin plan, not from a place of who's worthy of housing and who's not worthy of housing, coming from the place that we all are worthy for the grace that we've been given.
The Housing Authority has their own rules, and some of them are federal rules, some are local. The risk we take is try to get them to loosen up what the rules were. If it's looking back over a number of years for someone's criminal history, and we're saying, well, don't they deserve housing no matter what, even with a criminal history? Where are they supposed to go? What's their family supposed to do? Because we'd heard stories about families being evicted from their housing because they had a family member living with them that had been incarcerated. And that's not acceptable either.
Well, I'm a single parent. I'm disabled. I have 4 children and 5 grandchildren. In 2016, I was woken up early in the morning. There was banging on the door, and I thought it was the delivery guy bringing me my medication. When I hear that they're saying that they're police, and they pulled my whole family out and had us all in cuffs, and it was a very traumatic experience, you know. And then they took us to jail, you know, and that's where I sat. Later on, I found out that they were there because they were accusing me of fraud for the Housing Authority, and they went back when my sons were minors and they were getting in trouble in school. One son was in a group home and another son was in juvenile hall. And during that time, the Housing Authority kept asking me to give them paperwork because, you know, you have to report everything that's happening.
In the event that the minor child has committed a prohibited criminal policy and they are not in a court-approved program or they are not following the rules of the court-approved program, then they would be in violation of our criminal background check policy. The family would need to disclose that, and then we would work with the family to try and help them through the tough decision of whether staying on program or the child would need to find another place to live with a relative, friend, etc.
I let them know that he was coming home, and they said, well, he can't come home. He won't be able to live with you. And then I couldn't understand that. I started searching for a lawyer.
I met Toya Vick because someone had referred her to me. I do pro bono legal work sometimes for cases that are kind of related to justice. So I took her case and I heard her story, and I was just so moved by her life and her strength that I went to court for her. And that became the beginning of me being aware of the issues. And for a lot of reasons, oftentimes mothers, usually mothers, will not report if a child goes to juvenile hall because the very reason that their housing would be in jeopardy. And that's a tough place for any woman to be in. And so we were successful in getting the criminal case dismissed. And what we wanted to do was more for her and for the countless other women like her.
I can't speak for what's happened in the past and the way things were handled previously to this partnership. But I think part of this partnership is to look at the cases that have, the lived experiences that have taken place. What were the circumstances that drove those decisions, the end assistance or stay-in program, et cetera, to figure out ways like how can we be better? Are there better ways for us to respond going forward? To figure out dealing with the current crisis as it comes forward to us.
We know that Riverside County has stopped placing people's housing assistance at risk when a juvenile in the house is incarcerated. And so through probation, through the housing authority, through our partnership, that's happened. And that wasn't happening before the partnership. And I think one of the next steps for our partnership is to make sure that this becomes codified and memorialized in some writing, whether it's an ordinance or some changes to codes that will make sure that when the beautiful people that are currently running the county are no longer there, that we don't go back to what we used to do.
We went to Board of Supervisors in Riverside. We went there, and that's when I was able to tell my story, and a few other people was there too, quite a few people. And at that time, Housing Authority had a 7-year look-back period. And upon hearing our story, they did change that from 7 years to 3-year look-back period. So I am honored to have this time and space, and I really thank them a lot for that. They are helping save my life and my family's and many, many more to come.